Well, it is official, ladies and gentlemen. Mauricio Pochettino is the Chelsea gaffer. He's been announced, but what will he bring? And is he indeed the perfect candidate for this Chelsea job, of which is a massive, massive job? So welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan, and I do hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. And of course, welcome back to the office, not the studio, but welcome back to Chelsea News. Today I'm referencing an article from Matt Law of The Telegraph that tries to break down to you, or to us, why Mauricio Pochettino is indeed the perfect and most ideal candidate for this horrendous rebuild. So we're going to go through it together, react accordingly, and I look forward to learning, or the explanation of why we should be positive and have the feel-good emotions coursing through our bodies as we put behind us a really harrowing, turgid experience that was last season and look forward to rebirth. You have to rise from the ashes to become a blazing phoenix. You have to go through it to get to it. You have to start from the bottom. Okay, I can't think of any more analogies. If you do want to support the content, consider liking the video. That helps me out a lot. You're welcome to subscribe too. And should you choose to do so, one recommends you hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Alright, Chelsea's so-called diligent and thoughtful process to appoint a new head coach may not seem quite so exhaustive after all. It led them back to Mauricio Pochettino. My mind goes to that Avengers quote where Thanos, I can't remember what he says, but when he says, "And where did that lead you? Back to me." And that's Pochettino. And in this instance, Pochettino is Thanos. Is that a good thing? You decide. The Argentine, 51, has signed a 2-year deal with Chelsea with an option for a third on the club side. As first reported by the Telegraph Sport, he'll start work the day after tomorrow at time of recording. No matter how much it was staring them in the face, from the start, the Argentine has been the best man for the job at Stamford Bridge. Well, let's find out why. Put simply, Pochettino ticks every single box. Chelsea need a coach who can build and nurture. And this is what we've been speaking about here on the channel, Football Therapy. Though I throw my hands up, Pochettino was not my initial first and preference choice. Upon a sobering reflection and of watching perhaps the squad and, letting it percolate in my mind a little bit more, it does make a lot of sense. A head coach who will play and develop young players. A head coach with big club and Premier League experience. Yes. Big club, I think PSG, I think Tottenham. I'm looking for the big club here. But he has got Premier League experience. A lot. A head coach who has won trophies. Yeah. A head coach who can manage upwards. Yes. A head coach with something to prove. Yes. A head coach with a top-class staff. Apparently so. And possibly a head coach who has managed through a stadium rebuild. Why is that possibly? Because he has managed through a stadium rebuild. Tottenham moved stadium. He was the coach. Now, I realise I went pretty high there. Hold on, let me just masculate myself a little bit. Now they have the head coach they need. Chelsea's co-controlling owners, Todd Boehly and Badalek Barley, must sit back and let Pochettino, along with his staff, and the club's sporting team, led by co-sporting directors Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart, do things his way. It's his way or the highway, baby girl. There's so many times referenced by journalists and articles this one sentence. Led by co-sporting directors Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart. And it's always Paul Winstanley first and Lawrence Stewart. I feel like Lawrence Stewart's getting beta vibes here. Why can't he be Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley? Don't know if that's just me being mental. Maybe you've realised that too, but here on the channel we reference a lot of journalism and it's always seemingly that way around. Chelsea, of course, could have hired Pochettino back in September when they preferred Graham Potter, but the timing is better now for all parties. Amen. If there's one thing that I'm constantly regurgitating here on this channel is just cut yourself off from anything to do with this season. Like, hot damn. The 51-year-old has had a proper break since leaving Paris Saint-Germain and has been able to negotiate his return to coaching from a position of greater strength. Chelsea will hope they will be getting a recharged Pochettino who has had time to shake off the PSG cobwebs and come back determined to succeed with a clarity of his work, while former Tottenham Hotspur man, why do we have to call him that, will hope the owners have got their biggest mistakes out the way and learned from them. Well, here's to hoping, big Poch brother. And yes, timing is everything. Coming in, and you could argue, but who likes arguing, that didn't help what is a good manager in Graham Potter. Now, in hindsight, we all learn, including myself, that he wasn't appropriate for the Chelsea job. But much like Frank as well, but a bit later down the road, Potter was thrown into a pretty impossible situation. Pochettino would have benefited from that because they basically absorbed and endured all the toxicity and potential, a lot of the troubles throughout this season. My chair just nearly broke, and highlighted the issues for Poch to just sit back, not, affiliate and associate himself with this failure. Sit back and just take notes. Right, this guy is a turd. This guy is a little wuss. These guys can't play football. These guys. And then he can come and put himself in place and be like, ready for football. Pochettino will have a pre-season. It is a gift. Which is so important to his preparation to work with. I mean, by the way, pause. Lot of the season people will attribute to Chelsea having a disaster of a pre-season. I mean, Frank Lampard literally signed off the season saying that these players are not and have never been appropriately fit for Premier League. And we know for a fact Thomas Tuchel's pre-season, remember Thomas Tuchel 4 managers ago? It was just a disaster, bro. So he'll need this for his preparation to work with the players to improve their fitness and mental attitudes, while the club will have time to try and cut the oversized squad, which has been such a problem for Potter and caretaker manager Frank Lampard, and indeed, of course, initially Tuchel as well. His association to his old club Spurs was the only potential black mark against Pochettino's name in Chelsea's latest search for a new head coach. But football and managers move on quickly these days, and self-imposed limits on which coaches and could and couldn't consider because of their backgrounds. Of course, both Mourinho and Conte went to Tottenham. And we've had people like Hoddle and all sorts go across, and Vish Bowish and all that, Excuse me. Yes, so their backgrounds could prove very limiting and potentially self-defeating should that limit them. Also, just to speak on the Tottenham affiliation, I actually am quite enjoying it upon reflection because it makes our bitter rivals Tottenham a bit sad, and that's fun in the great theatre of football. Chelsea's owners decided against Pochettino purely on the grounds that he had managed Tottenham with some distinction. They would have also dismissed ex-Arsenal managers in the future, no matter or not whether they ticked every box. Yeah, it's like, what if Guardiola managed Arsenal and then we could get him? Oh no, he managed Arsenal. Would they have a rule to saying no to former West Ham managers, no matter their potential success? Well, yeah, but if they managed West Ham, I don't think they're necessarily, appropriate to manage Chelsea. But then again, Poch managed Southampton, which is a relatively low level of football. So, Chelsea's rivalry at times over the past 2 decades have been more intense with Liverpool than it has with Spurs or Arsenal. Yeah, I guess. So on that basis, would they not turn their noses up at Jurgen Klopp? Of course not. Pause. I don't like Jurgen Klopp. He's a good manager. I think he behaves like a bit of a knobhead. I genuinely do. Everyone, I'm just going to express myself here. Everyone loves up Jurgen Klopp. I think he's a bit of a knobhead. There you go. I said it. Yes, I admire the fact how, of course, he's an amazing coach. He's charismatic. And one of his greater qualities is he apologises from when he behaves like a knobhead, so everyone feels like they should be able to absolve him. But no, when you relentlessly behave like a knobhead, you just got to stop. You got to stop. Saying sorry isn't good constantly. Eventually you got to stop. Oh, sorry, I killed that person. Oh, off you go. Oh, I killed another one. Sorry. Oh, off you go. When he done his hammy the other day, shouting at the 4th official. He's got previous of that for Dortmund, Liverpool. Just be a man. I think it's a disgrace, actually. Clearly I have issues with this. Once Pochettino's made it clear to his Tottenham connections were not a problem for him, they did not need to concern Chelsea. Well, yeah. Who will be aware of some supporters may afford him a shorter honeymoon period than other coaches, like Benitez vibes, isn't it? But also will know that the vast majority just want to get back to winning ways no matter who's in charge. Yes, because we've been like so burned. You could put like most people in charge of Chelsea right now and there'll be a relative level of slack. And whatever people think of the standards of Ligue 1, Pochettino's return to England and the Premier League as a winner have lifted 3 domestic trophies of PSG. Yeah, okay. Cynics may mock, which some of you may be doing right now, you cynics, given that Pochettino had Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe and Neymar at his disposal. But Pep Guardiola's 3 Bundesliga titles not count because they were achieved at Bayern Munich and had Robert Lewandowski on them in a one-thing race. Also, on that as well, PSG's such a crap show, and Poch was given the super team, and I think in many ways he failed, especially losing the title to Lille with the super team. But the thing is, the super team causes a lot of problems. It's such a constant circus out there, and Chelsea's got an expensively assembled team, but we're not a Galactico all-star ego team. Our most expensive player in Enzo Fernandez is young and gritty and hard-working, and he's too young to feel like Lionel Messi despite winning a World Cup with him. These are the kind of players that you can cultivate a work ethic with. And that PSG All-Stars team that know they play in the Farmers League, it's very, very hard to achieve that. In fact, it's the antithesis of what Pochettino would try and cultivate there. So you got to be lucid to that, man. Do you know what I mean? So what about the fact Luis Enrique was part of Chelsea's original host of targets, who won La Liga titles of both the greatest teams ever? Of course, he won the treble with the MSN front three. How about many other yes, Conte at Juventus. But hold on, Matt Law of The Telegraph. Conte took over Juventus after consecutive mid-table finishes and won 3 titles in a row, including an invincible season. If they were Arsenal, they'd be talking about that for the rest of their lives, but people don't really talk about it much because, Arsenal drew a load of games. Lol. Anyway, context required for each and every individual manager here. A certain Thomas Tuchel arrived at Chelsea having only won league titles in PSG. He did win the Pokal for Dortmund though. And Carlo Ancelotti, of course, yes. But yeah, Carlo Ancelotti was recognised as an absolute baller. Winning is winning, no matter the circumstances, and Pochettino's proved he can get over the line. The fact he has yet to do so in England will only prove him with even more motivation. That's it, though, isn't it? This is kind of what a lot of people are hoping, that he's in the sweet spot. He was a good coach. He's got a great, interesting background. Came to Spain, Espanyol, did well, got the move at Southampton, really did a good rebuild at Southampton, and indeed Tottenham pushed and developed the team to become this playing above themselves kind of thing, and then went, back to PSG because he played there, didn't he, for a little bit. Experienced that incredible intense circus that is PSG, and then, lifted a trophy in his hands, like, oh, this is what it's like. Do you know what I mean? And then now he's back in the Premier League and I'm going to show you that what I did with Tottenham, this development, I can get that even further. I've had more experience elsewhere, and this Chelsea cauldron of raw talent, this raw materials is so, it's potent. I've never smelt such a potent bunch of players. I hope that isn't the case, because that means they need to shower. Do you know what I mean, though? It could be, he's going to be look, I turned Dele Alli into a friggin' world beater. Look where he is now. Imagine what I can do with Kai Havertz if he stays, or Mason Mount if he stays. All these players might leave. Who's going to stay? That I can reference. Nkunku, he's surely not going. Nkunku, think of what I can do with him. And indeed, Breuer. I always, I want Harry Kane 2.0 with Armando Breuer. This is the stuff that he can do. Look, this is a good article. There's a little bit more. Go check out Matt Law's work. I do recommend it on The Telegraph. Chelsea have everything they need. This is perfect for Pochettino. It can only go up. He can only get better. He has the absolute incredible resources to build something special. On our perspective, he's really, really good at developing, young, talented players that need development. He's good at cultivating a culture and an ethos, a sort of connectivity, a togetherness, and Jesus, we need that. It just seems right. He speaks a multitude of languages. Of course, Frankie Lampard, he just speaks jolly old English, as we know, but, you know, he at least Pochettino speaks 3 languages. We know he speaks Spanish, English, and French. I know he played at PSG, but the fact that he's managed out there for a couple of seasons, he's got to have honed his French. C'est pas trop difficile, hein? What do you think, boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm very, very interested to read your thoughts, feelings, and emotions about this appointment in its totality or holistically. Is that what I want to talk about? The words I want to use? I'll be very interested in reading your thoughts. There's obviously lots of content to cover now over the summer, so make sure you do subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notified when I upload, and I look forward to seeing you, mate, you right there, very soon. Peace.